The first thing you're going to notice when you open your new DG15 version is that you have a screen coming in front of you saying Pulse Cloud. We're going to have a separate seminar for Pulse Cloud next week, and I really advise you to join this, but very quickly in a very brief introduction, Pulse Cloud is an exciting new technology we have added as Pulse Microsystems. Basically what happens is you can create any design you want with lettering. You can upload it in cloud, and from any mobile device, from any Android device, from any iPod device, from any iPhone device, you can modify the text, you can change the text, and not only that, you can use all the available fonts we have as Pulse, change the fonts on the spot from your mobile device, and have the design saved. In addition to that, if you have your Tajima LAN machines connected with DG15, you will be able to send the design directly from anywhere around the globe to the machine, and also notice and monitor what's happening in the machine on real time. So we're not going to spend time today with Pulse Cloud because it is a different subject and a long and exciting subject, but we will have more information about on the next webinar, which will be next week. So let us get in DG15. The first thing you will notice when you make a new design is that we have added a new monogramming wizard. The new monogramming wizard allows you to create very nice monogramming on the fly and get away from the traditional monogramming everybody's used. Let's quickly see how monogramming would work. What is happening, you can see it has three sides. One on the left, where I can see the different variations of my monogramming. We have the middle screen where you can see the monogramming, the frame, the decors, and the right screen. So let me select the specialty bottom here. I can change the color. Let's make it blue. Let's change the A with a P and red. Pulse. And I can pick up easily any available font DG15 includes. So I can scroll down my font list. So let me pick up Diana Script New. I like this font. Let me pick up for the second font also Diana Script New. So we have the same fonts. And let me change the size of the fonts. If I click the button Apply, you will see that on the middle screen I now have Pulse, P with blue, Als with red. Now I want to play around with my decors. So I can enable or disable them from here. Now they are disabled. Let me enable them back. I can click on any decor I need to change, and on the right side of the screen I can scroll down. As you can see, I have beautiful, nice decors which I can pick and select. Let me take this one here. Let me also flip it vertically. Let me change the decor on the bottom right. I will go for another decor, maybe this one. And now I can change my frames, which I can again disable or enable. As you can see, If I pick away the decors, I only stay with my initials. I click on my decors again, they're back. And on the frame, and my frames are back. And now what is left to do is again to pick up a frame I would like to have from the frames we have available. As you see, I'm scrolling down slowly. So let me pick up this one here. Now, the beautiful thing about monogramming is that I can take this decor, I can save it as a template, and if I want to repeatedly use it, I can easily open the template, change the letters and initials I want to change, and use it. So once I'm done, I click on OK, and the template will be created. So I picked up a rather complicated monogramming here, but it's a nice monogramming. As you can see, it's very handy. There you go. Now let us go to the next subject, which, as I said, was lettering. And let's see the three very nice new things we have done in lettering. The first thing we have done is something I find very useful, and you will see why it is useful. Let me try to put two guidelines here. So, and let me pick up lettering. Let's make a straight line. And obviously, because it's a Pulse webinar, let me type in Pulse Microsystems. And let's see the problem we usually face and the solution on it. Usually what happens is that if I create a lettering, I want it to be inside a specific area. And the area are the two lines I have drawn. But sometimes I need to type more letters and I'm coming out from the area. So how can I resolve this problem? In DG15 we have a very nice new feature which is called shrink to fit. What is shrink to fit doing? Shrink to fit will bring the lettering inside the area I have drawn in the beginning. So if I say width compression, you will see that my monogramming came inside the two lines without changing the height, but keeping the same height, only compressing the width. If I would choose height compression, the software would make the fonts smaller in order to be exactly on the spot, or I could say height and width compression. In my eyes, this is a very interesting new feature, very useful, because many times we find ourselves in a difficult situation like that and we're trying manually changing the size of the lettering and making all those adjustments. So that's new in DG15. Use this nice feature. Another nice feature is that I click on the font I want to change the color. This is my font. As you can see, it is selected. I come down where I have my thread colors. Let me pick a tomato red. You see, U has changed to tomato red. I can take the E. I can change it to yellow. I can take the I. Let me change it to light blue. And basically what is happening here is I can change the color of each individual letter just by clicking on it, coming down on my thread chart and changing the color. So this is feature number 2 in lettering. In my eyes, interesting and very nice. We have a new lettering type, which is a vertical type. You all know, if you are Pulse users, that I was drawing an horizontal line and I could move the letters among the line. What I do now is that I have the new vertical lettering, which is new in DG15. I will draw an imaginary line here. Again, being a little bit selfish, I will type in pulse, and what you see is that the letters came along the line. So what happens is I can pick up the letter, I can drag it, and it will drag with me along the line. So vertical lettering is a type of lettering which is used a lot, and it was a request from our customers. It has been integrated in DG15. So those two parts, monogramming and lettering, apply to the new features on lettering. Let us go to the next subject now, which is, let me remove the guidelines here, which is note editing. We've done a lot of work in note editing because one of the most used part of the software is when I'm editing notes, when I'm changing notes, I need to change from the curve to a straight, I need to add notes, and until now it was possible to be done, but you needed to do 2 or 3 steps. In DG15 you only have 1 step. So let me open a design which will help us understand. So let me take this design here. Okay. Now, what can you see on the screen? The first thing you immediately see on the screen is that the complex field I have created is missing the part on the right side which has not been digitized. Oh, and now do I need to go and put every point individual and I have a lot of work to do it? Yes, I had, but now things are easy. Let me hide the stitches. Let me select the segment. You go and you say vertex select. You click the right mouse button on the anchor and you only say insert anchors before or after. So I would insert my anchors after. And as you can see, my points have been added and I have fixed my outline. Another issue we have is that a good number of times we want to change a straight to a curve and a curve to a straight. So again, having selected the segment, note editing, with control and right mouse button, click, you see what happened? I made it a curve. I click again, it's a straight. I do the same here. Curve, curve, just with the right mouse button, I switch from a curve to a straight. So now here I need to go backwards, and I have the result I wanted. That's the second thing we did on anchors. But what we also did is what you're going to see in 1 minute. There is a good number of times where I want to move my anchors and I want to snap them to an artwork. So let's say, for example, that I want to take the bottom part here and snap it to an artwork. So let me draw with my pen an artwork. Just an imaginary artwork here. Let me hide the image. So I want now to move the bottom corner along the artwork line I have drawn. So I pick the segment, note editing, and F4 would mean snap to artwork. So I want to take all this part, I just snap the corner, and you see what happened? As I move the mouse, the corner, the bottom corner, is following the artwork. if I would take this anchor here, this anchor and this point would snap. So let's go to the next one. The next one is actually something very, very interesting. I'm here. How many times do I want to average anchors the same as I average two different segments? So this is a very nice example for you to understand what it does. I want this anchor to be averaged with this anchor on the bottom of the box here. So again, I go on node editing. I pick up both nodes. Right mouse button, average anchors. I have the average window coming on screen. And now what I'm going to say is average to the bottom. So you see what happened? Both points have been averaged to the bottom. So sometimes when I make a square and my points they are not aligned 100%, and I want to have a very good accuracy, I can use this feature to be able to make the change. So this is the second part of the changes we have done, which is the node editing and anchor editing. As you can see, we have done a good number of changes to one of the functions we are using in our daily life. So let me close this design and let me go to the next subject, which is merge multiply designs. Until now you know that I can merge one design by a time. The problem is that many times I want to merge more than one design. So what happens then? Well, with DG15 I go on the merge design icon. I come at my designs. Let me go to this folder here. Okay, let's make the icons a little bit bigger so we can see what is included here. Very nice, beautiful design. So I will take the apple, the cherry, the melon, and I will merge them together with the grapes in one window. Open. So I have the first design. You see the software is telling me from where the design is coming, the name of the design. I want it here. I want the next one here. I want the next one here. And the next design there. So now, as you can see, I was able to merge easily multiply designs. This is a long-standing feature request, has been integrated in DG15. The next subject we're going to speak is alignment. It's many times when we make a design, we have a steady segment. Around it we have a variation of different segments, but we want every time when the steady segment is moving, the other segments to follow the segment, to be aligned to this segment. So this is a new feature in DG15, which is called alignment. And we will have to see let me delete those parts here, how it works. So let me take a rectangle. I always like to use the drawing tools which are available in DG15. Rectangle is selected, and from my conversion tool I would say I want to convert this rectangle to a complex fill. I will start here, I will finish here. Let me give it this inclination, very nice. And let me now take a symbol. I hope you guys are using the symbol tool, because it's a very nice tool which is a long time in the software, and basically what it does is we have made a good number of symbols which you use in your daily life. You can see if I scroll down and you can see the symbols. So there are nice symbols around here. Let me go up. Let me take the first symbol. First one goes here. Second one goes there. And I think I need to make this one slightly smaller because it is very big. Okay. So now, as you can see, I have spread two stars on my screen and I have my rectangle here. I want to align the star. I pick up the star, I press the right mouse button, and on transform I have what you call align to segment. Now I need to pick up my segment. You can see that this rectangle segment has been highlighted. You press enter and you have the alignment setting. So this one I will send it on the right side. I will offset it by 25 by X, 0 on Y. There is one mistake I did. You see, what happened was transform, alignment settings. I said on the right while I had to say align it to the left. I said to the left as I had to say align it to the right. Sorry about this, I got confused. Happens on a live presentation. And you see that the star has been aligned on the right side. Picking the next star, I will do the same thing, transform, align to segment. I will pick my segment, and this one will be aligned on the right side, 25 on the left side, 25. Looks like I'm mixing left with right tonight. Hope it's okay with you guys. So what happens is I've aligned both stars to the rectangle. Now, if I start moving the rectangle and I put it here, you see what happens? The stars are being aligned, and every time I move the segment, they follow. And if I now decide that I want to take this star, align it to the left side on the bottom, alignment settings, I put on the bottom, left side, and there you are. So now again, every time I'm going to move my rectangle, the stars will be aligned. That was alignment. A nice handy feature which can come across in our daily life. And I always say that those small features which can help me make my life easier when I'm digitizing or creating a design are the ones who make a difference. Let's delete this segment. Let's delete this one too. Let me take this one and let me activate duplicate segment. So you see the icon on top, it's duplicate segment. If I press Ctrl and the left mouse button, you will see a new window which is called Advanced. So you can define on this window how many rows above, how many rows below, how many columns on the left or how many columns on the right you would like to have and in which order, and you can also define the distances. So I will go column on the right 10, rows below 5. Let me give it a distance of 20 and 20, and there you go. Very quickly and very easily I was able to create the copy of those 50 stars. So that's the advanced duplicate. Let me also delete this star here. And let us go now to the next function. Selective outline. What is this? Let me see. Let me find the design. Okay, it's on my recent file folders, so you can see that I was playing around in the morning, trying to prepare myself so I could be able to explain things in a good way to you. Now, this is a segment. You all know that we have the automatic feature which can allow you to create an automatic border around this complex field. The problem is that in this particular design, I don't want the border to go all the way around the complex field. Let me hide the unselected segments. I just want the border to start here and follow the outside area. So let me show the segments again. So what do? Simply, once my segment is selected, let me make a smaller zoom so you can see a little bit better. Once the segment is selected, I click on this small arrow which says select section for, what was it saying? Select section for copying. So I click the first point here and the second point here. Right mouse button, and there you go. You can see that the software has generated the outline on the specific points I have indicated. You all know that usually if I have cases like that, I need to go and I need to add the outline manually, which can be time consuming depending on how complicated or how easy the design is. So with selective outline, I can do it easily and fast. Now, everything you have seen until now goes back to what we say, daily use, features which make my life easier, features which allow me to be faster. Let's go now in features who help me be more artistic. So let me bring up a design on the screen. And let me bring this design. It's a nice basketball field with this basketball ball. And I'm going to use my sequence view of Windows 8, sorry about that, to see my segments and pick the segment I want to have. This is my segment. So I'm going to hide everything which is not selected. So now, if I draw the segment, you see I have nothing else than a simple, straight tatami, a standard field. I want to convert this standard field to a wave field. So what do I do in this case? It is selected and I just click. You see where it says wave? I click on wave. And now, let's see what's going to happen. This is happening. So, and as you can see, this is creating a three-dimensional effect on the embroidery. So the end result will look much nicer than before. And The beauty of this is there are two nice things about it. I can draw the wave again. That means that I go here and I say wave, punch the wave. So and as you will see, it will create a different result. And if I want to take it further, I can go back and say I want to have two waves. So I can come on my properties here. I can say I would like to have not 12 but two waves. So what now is going to happen, I will draw one wave here, and I will draw another wave here. Or I didn't like what I did, so let me do it again. I will draw one wave there, and I will draw my next wave here. Okay, something is happening, yes. So now I have made, as you can see, two waves. So using waves, I can change the way a design looks. So let's go to the next subject, which is complex modifier. What is complex modifier? Let's see what complex modifier is.
Before we go to Draw Fusion in the future, though, I'd like to go through a question or two if we can.
Okay, before we go to complex modifier or after?
After that, that's fine.
After complex modifier. Okay, let us do this then. Let's take a complex field. Okay. And 1, 2. Let me hide the stitches. Let me take the cycle again. So I can duplicate this one. So what I did was I put two cycles around here. So I will click on convert, and I will pick up and I will say complex modifier. So as you can see on the left top, I have the field type and I have a stitch type. So let me pick up, let's say, this pattern for this cycle. Let me click on the second segment again. Let me convert this to a complex modifier. Let me make it a carved tile, and let me change the carving of it. You can see I have the different carved tiles here. So I will pick this one. Now I will generate, and you will immediately see what happened. This is what happens. You see that? I have my complex field with a simple tatami, with a simple normal stitch. Inside is a different feeling, and a different feeling is there. And if I draw, you will see that they are all part of the same segment. So the machine continues to embroider. So I'll let it draw so you can see. Okay, I think we're done with this. Now, and because I have my wave feature, I can now say, make it a wave. So I will create one wave here. And maybe I could say I want to have two waves. and I want to have one wave here and another wave here. So I always like to pull my luck, and there you go. It's a nice, absolutely different and nice artistic result we're creating. And the reason I did this is because I want to take it one step further. I am going to change the fill from a standard to a program fill. I will pick up a pattern and I will do the same thing with my complex modifiers. So I will put another pattern here and I will put another pattern there, and this is what you're going to have as an end effect. So I always say that embroidery is art. We just need to have the tools which would allow us to fulfill our artistic dreams or artistic nature. Okay, Trevor, before we go to Draw Fusion, what type of questions do we have?
Okay, so we had one question, and I definitely invite anyone else to give us their questions if they have any based on what Alex has shown so far. But going back to the monogram wizard for a second, we have a question. Are the decor baby rattles formulating as stitches?
Yes.
And what is the best way to remove them from the design if we want to?
Well, here's the thing. Let me go to the monogramming again. Everything we have shown here is formulating as stitches. So I have the monogram here. And let's say everything you see here are stitches. If I don't want to have the decors, what I do is I come down here on the screen and you see on the bottom where my mouse is now where it says decors. I click.
Yes.
And they're going away. And if I want to get rid of my frames too, I click and the frames are away. And if I just want to have a simple ABC, I just have a simple ABC. I guess that this was a question.
Okay, so if you uncheck them, then they will not appear once you click OK.
Now if I click OK, you're only going to have ABC. And the nice thing about it is that as you are using your monogram, you are creating your own template. So you can make a template, you can save this template, and you can call it quickly up once you want to use it. Okay? So I made a mistake here, I clicked everything, but they are not formulating, okay? Yeah, because for a mistake I clicked on them. So when you create them, they will not be formulating. So next question.
Okay. So once you align segments, are you able to break them apart later?
Yeah.
Break the alignment?
Yes. Basically, let me do it very quickly. So let's say I have this square. I make the square a complex fill. And let me get another symbol. Okay, so now, right mouse button, transform, align segment. So I pick up the segment I want it to be aligned. And I say I want it aligned here on a distance of, let's say, 30 millimeters. So as you can see, I'm moving and the alignment is there. If I want to take To clear the alignment, I click on the segment which is aligned to this one, right mouse button, transform, clear alignment. Now that means that the alignment has been cleared. Okay? Is there any other question, Trevor?
Yeah, we have a couple more, and they go back to the monogram wizard at the moment.
It looks like it's very popular, the monogramming wizard.
Yeah.
Well,
so
okay.
The first one is if they select a couple of decors and then click none, the baby rattles will not generate with the rest of the decors.
Yes,
that's what you were mentioning, but I think you had the wrong one open or something.
No, what happened was I clicked the wrong one. So you have the monogram.
And then with this open, there's another one to ask as well.
Okay, so I don't want the decors. I take them away. And I don't want the frames. So now if I say OK, it will only make the letter A. What you see on the screen here.
Okay.
Okay?
And now if you bring those decors back, and if you edit a couple of them, then what happens when you click to remove? So it will just remove all of the decors again, right?
Yes, it removes all the decors. At this moment, we are not in the position where we can say, for example, that I want to remove only this decor, or I want to remove only this decor here. I think you should take a note of that, Trevor, once we're speaking about it, because it would be a nice idea in one of the future maintenance releases of DG15 to have the possibility and say, okay, I click at this decor and I want none here. Okay?
Okay. So you're saying to remove certain ones, but not all of them.
Exactly, because now the only thing you can do is to come here and click remove either. So you come back to what you had, and you can remove either all of them or none today. But I think our programmers, our developers could look into this and see what if and what could be possible.
Yep. The last question I have at the moment is what button are you pressing, or what are you doing in order to get the second wave to work?
Okay, K. The button I'm pressing is K, and the button is the K button because this is the button for branching. So let me quickly, which reminds me that I've forgotten something. Let me close this. So the button I'm pressing is K, okay? Now, one of the best features we've done in the latest years in DG and in our product is what we call the virtual slicing. Let me take the letter T. Okay, it's too small. Let me make it bigger. Let's see the size of it. It's okay. So what happens here is that I want to create the letter T in one segment. So once it is selected, I click on virtual slicing. So I will have one segment here, one segment there. I will draw my directions. And I will say I want to start here. I want to finish there. So everything is fine so far. Sometimes, however, I want to split this segment, which I cannot do at this moment. So in DG15, once I have a segment with virtual slice, I can click on what you call breakup. It will break the segment in two. You can see one segment, two segments. So I can take this segment, move it a bit up, and I can also take another segment, add it here, and since I had the question about the wave, you have to know that if I have branching possibilities on my software, once I have done my segment, if I press the K button, that means that I want to continue and I want to add a branch here. So I'm adding the branch here. It's not the best thing I'm doing, but just for you to see what it does. So what happens here now is, if I go on my sequence view, I have 1, 2, 3 segments. So I pick them all. I select them all. One second. Yes, I need the selection tool to select everything.
I think you clicked the lock button by accident.
Thank you for helping me. Yes, I did. You see, sometimes you need some extra help. So it happens even to the best ones. So here you are, and you say combine, and now I have managed to create one segment. So basically what we have done is we have added the possibility to have a segment with a visual slice which we slice. Now let me clean up everything here. So as you know, we are integrating together with Corel, and because we are living on a graphic society and a graphic environment, there are many people who are CorelDraw users and would like to do their artwork in Corel and then bring them in Pulse and then bring the artwork back in Corel. Although our software is based on a graphic software and has all the tools which you don't need to make this jump. But sometimes I really want to have the integration because I want to jump from embroidery to graphics and from graphics to embroidery. So what I need to do is I just need to click on this small icon there. I need to have Corel, of course, installed. And we are compatible until the latest version of Corel, which is X7. I'm using an X6 Corel version right now. So Corel is opening. There you go. This is Corel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import a file in Corel. So it's a nice globe. As you can see, careful, it has to be a vector file. So you need to have vectors, you need to have the lines. You cannot use, yes, I think I need to say ungroup all. And now I should be able to take this point here. Yes. You see, this is a graphic file. I do my editing, I do everything in Corel, and now I want to come to my embroidery software. So what I do is I say File, Switch. I can bring the vector in DG15 as an artwork, but if I want to calculate my stitches and I want to make a quick quotation to a customer, I can convert the shapes to stitches. However, it has to be very clear what we're saying here. The creation of the stitches also looks very nice on the screen. Doesn't mean that we don't digitize. Doesn't mean that you don't need to digitize. You're using the conversion if you want to quickly show to your customer how a design would look. Excuse me about that. And if you want to calculate the stitches, not to put this on the machine. Because no automation can create a design automatically, no matter what people say, and no matter how nice the stitches you will see now will look on the screen. So what happens now is, we brought from Corel in the embroidery window the design. Wow, I can put on the machine. Again, I say no. It's a nice stitch estimator. I now know how many stitches it has. The design has 4,000 stitches. I can tell to my customer, here's how the design will look. Or, for example, I want to take away this part here. So I will use my knife. I will slice it. So once it's sliced, I will say, okay, I want to get rid of this one. The rest is there. The only thing I need to do is I need to take 1, 2, 3 segments, combine them in one, and now if I want to bring this back to Corel and have it redesigned, I click on my Draw Fusion window, I say refresh Draw Fusion, and you will see what's going to happen in 1 minute. It's now redrawing and recalculating, needs some time. And there you have your end result. So I took a vector file from Corel, I brought it in DG15, I made the changes in my embroidery, I came back to Corel, and as you can see, always keeping and maintaining my initial points, my Bezier points, and not creating too many points, and I can continue working. And if I go back to my embroidery window, here is my embroidery design, and I can continue making the changes. So that's also the part of Draw Fusion. Trevor, do we have any questions?
No new questions at the moment, but definitely welcome any more questions if anyone has any.
Okay, let's wait a couple of minutes if anyone wants to make any questions.
Yep, we'll just wait a minute or two and see if anyone has any. If not, we can wrap up.
And I hope that it has been interesting for everybody, and I welcome you to join our next 2 series of webinars. The next one, I think, is what other topics, Trevor? Can you let people know?
Yep, so the next webinar happens next week on Tuesday, so same day, same time. It's going to be hosted by Bill, and he is going to be talking about Pulse Cloud and automation capabilities within DG15. And then following that, Monday, February 2nd, Roland is going to be discussing monograms and lettering further, and he's going to go into advanced editing and stitch types as well. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
So that means that everybody who wants to see monogramming again can join this webinar, which will be more in more details. So I don't see
a lot more details about monogramming then.
So since we have no other questions, thank you everybody for being with us. Trevor, thank you for organizing it.
Yes, thank you for presenting.
So good night everybody, and a happy new year 2015.